The Miami Dolphins, a team that is often referred to as one of the laughingstocks in the NFL in recent times. In the past decade, they only had one winning season, being in 2016 when they went 10-6, and the decade before that, they would find success, but unfortunately, nothing to push them to the Super Bowl. To find the Dolphins' most dominant times, we must go back to the good old 70s. In this time, the Dolphins would end up winning 2 Super Bowls, but unfortunately, they would never win a single one ever again. Another period we could look at in Dolphins history is the Marino era, but I'm sure we're all aware of the dominance and nothing else needs to be said. So enough about the past, let's get into what the video is really about, the present-day Dolphins. When I think of the current-day Dolphins, I can't help but remind myself of the poor decisions they've made. For example, trading Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Steelers, trading Robert Quinn to the Cowboys, signing Frank Gore in 2018, signing Jay Cutler in 2017, signing Kenny Stills to a 4-year, $32 million deal back in 2017, and not re-signing Jarvis Landry in 2018. Point is, they've made some questionable and poor decisions. For Dolphins fans, the last decade has been a complete disappointment, just an utter joke, only having one winning season like I mentioned before. In that decade, we all saw a lost team, a team struggling to build something, but failing from poor execution. But 2019 was the year it all changed. The Dolphins cleaned up an insane amount of cap space for a big upcoming 2020 free agency. Dishing out players like Stills and others with large contracts would end up giving them 3 first-round draft picks for 2020. On top of that, the Dolphins would have a projected $117 million in cap space, and they did the only logical thing they could with that money. Insert names like Byron Jones, Shaq Lawson, Eric Flowers, Kyle Van Noy, Jordan Howard, and more. The Dolphins would create a great defense and add on to their offense, and all it took was one single offseason to make things look promising. And again, don't forget about their draft picks. Many have projected that with the 5th overall pick, the Dolphins would select quarterback prospect Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. In just his sophomore season with Alabama, Tua threw for 3,966 yards and a whopping 43 touchdowns. Tua was considered the best draft prospect for all quarterbacks heading into his junior year with Alabama. Unfortunately, for Tua, he suffered a hip injury which would sideline him the rest of the season. Tua now comes into the NFL draft with a chip on his shoulder. Will he ever be as good as he used to be? And that's exactly why I believe he's the right quarterback for Miami. Fans wonder, will the Dolphins ever be what they were in the 70s and 90s? Will they ever be dominant again? And drafting Tua is the final piece to the Dolphins' puzzle for greatness. And having quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick to work with him in his rookie stages, that's exactly what he needs. For the Miami Dolphins, I believe it is finally time. It's finally time for Dolphins fans to stop crying. It's time for them to have hope. It's a new decade and a new team, and I believe it's finally time for the Dolphins. It's time for them to be great once again.